Ethan Hale was a man whose wealth made headlines. A self-made millionaire, admired for his genius but whispered about for his emotional distance. His world was neatly structured, airtight, controlled. Everything in his life functioned with efficiency, except, perhaps, his heart. Since his wife's passing 3 years earlier, Ethan had hired help to manage his home and care for his 6-year-old son, Liam. Among the staff was Mia Carter, a 22-year-old babysitter who had come to the job out of necessity rather than choice. She was warm, gentle, and endlessly patient, qualities Liam gravitated toward instantly. Ethan noticed her only in glimpses. A girl with quiet strength, soft smiles, and a way of making Liam feel safe. Still, he kept his distance. Feelings were impractical. Attachment was dangerous. That's what he told himself. But everything shifted on a cold evening in October. Ethan returned home earlier than usual, his mind buzzing with negotiations from a high-stakes deal. As he stepped inside, he heard soft singing, gentle, nearly whispered, and paused. It was coming from the kitchen. He walked closer. Inside, he found Mia sitting at the small breakfast table. A lone cupcake with a single candle flickered before her. She blew it out silently, the room both glowing and empty all at once. Ethan froze. It was her birthday. She was celebrating alone. Mia startled when she noticed him standing at the doorway. She quickly straightened, wiping at her eyes as if caught committing something shameful. "Mr. Hale, I'm sorry. Liam's already asleep. I wasn't expecting you this early." Ethan looked at the cupcake, the dim candle smoke twisting through the air. Something tightened inside him. "It's your birthday?" he asked, his voice uncharacteristically soft. She shrugged. "Just another day. Another day. Celebrated alone. With a single cupcake she'd probably bought for herself." He didn't know why, but the reality unsettled him deeply. "Why aren't you with your family?" he asked. She hesitated, then said simply, "They're not really in my life anymore." There was more to that story, he sensed, but Mia wasn't someone who offered her pain freely. She never acted like a victim. She just lived quietly through things most people never guessed. Ethan nodded once, then walked out of the kitchen. Mia sighed, feeling embarrassed. Of course he wouldn't care. Why would he? But she was wrong. Ethan went straight to his office, grabbed his phone, and began making calls, commands, really quick, precise, urgent. When Mia left the mansion an hour later, everything seemed normal. Calm, still, she had no idea what was coming. The next morning, she arrived to find the entire property transformed. Lights wrapped around the railings, thousands of little warm bulbs twinkling in the fading dusk. The hall smelled of vanilla and fresh flowers. The living room had been converted into a celebration space. Soft decorations, balloons in gentle colors, a table set with pastries, breakfast dishes, and a cake far too beautiful for any ordinary morning. Mia froze at the doorway, breath caught in her throat. Liam ran over, his smile huge. "Mia, Daddy said today we're having your birthday party. A real one." She looked at Ethan, who stood behind his son, hands in his pockets, eyes unreadable but softer than she'd ever seen. "You didn't have to do this," she whispered. "I know," Ethan replied quietly. "But I wanted to." Her eyes filled, and she quickly looked away, overwhelmed. No one had done something this thoughtful for her in years. The small celebration began. Liam insisted on singing, "Happy Birthday," twice. Mia laughed more that morning than she had in months. For a moment, she felt seen. Valued. Not just the girl who worked quietly in the background of someone else's life. But beyond the warmth of the moment, Ethan silently observed her. And he noticed something. A bruise. Dark, fading, hidden beneath the sleeve of her sweater. His jaw tightened. He didn't mention it. Not yet, but the sight lingered in his mind like a burning mark. Hours later, after cake and laughter and a rare kind of peace, Mia was cleaning the kitchen when Ethan approached her. "You don't have to do that," he said. She smiled faintly. "I like cleaning up. Gives me something to do." "You work enough." She shrugged, and the motion caused the fabric to shift, revealing more of the bruise. Ethan's voice hardened. "Who did that to you?" Mia stiffened, instantly pulling the sleeve down. It's nothing. I'm just clumsy. No, he said, stepping closer, eyes steady. You're not. For a moment, something flickered in her eyes, a fear she tried to bury. He waited. Finally, her breath broke. It's my ex, she whispered. He still shows up sometimes. Says I owe him. He doesn't take no very well. Ethan's hands curled into fists. How long has this been happening? Since before I started working here, she admitted. But it's fine. I'm handling it. Alone. Like she handled her birthday. Like she handled everything. Ethan's silence grew cold, sharp. You're not handling it, he said. Not anymore. She blinked, confused. But Ethan had already turned away, his mind making decisions with a clarity that startled even himself. In that moment, he knew two things. First, Mia deserved protection, safety, and peace. Second, anyone who hurt her had just made an enemy of him. That same evening, Mia was preparing to leave when her ex, Darren, appeared outside the gate. His posture was aggressive, his smile smug, as though he owned her. You think you can ignore me? He snarled. Before Mia could answer, a black SUV pulled up beside them. Ethan stepped out, expression unreadable but lethal in its calm. Is there a problem here? Ethan asked. Darren looked him up and down and snorted. Who the hell are you? Ethan didn't waste time. The man who's going to make sure you never come near her again. Darren moved toward Mia, but Ethan's security team, men Darren hadn't noticed until that second, stepped between them instantly. Ethan's voice stayed cold, controlled. I know exactly who you are. I know what you've done. And I know what you've tried to do. You're finished. Walk away now, or you won't be walking tomorrow. Darren blanched. He tried to protest, but the security team moved closer, and fear replaced arrogance. With one last glare at Mia, he backed off and sprinted into the night. Mia shook, breath trembling, terrified of what Darren might do later, terrified of everything. Ethan stepped to her side. You're safe now, he said quietly. He won't touch you again. How can you be sure? She whispered. Because I'll make sure of it. Something in his tone, solid, unwavering, melted a part of her frozen fear. She realized then that the man she thought distant was paying attention in ways she never expected. That night, Ethan insisted on driving her home. Not because she needed him, but because he needed to know she was protected. In the dim glow of the car's interior, she looked at him. Why did you do all this? She asked softly. The birthday, the protection, everything. He hesitated. Then, with a sincerity that startled even him, he said, because you deserve more than the world gave you. And because my son smiles more when you're around. And because, his breath caught. You matter. More than you think. Mia's heart fluttered painfully, beautifully. No one had told her she mattered in a very long time. As he dropped her off, she turned to him. Thank you, Ethan, she whispered. For seeing me. He held her gaze. I always did. In the weeks that followed, things changed. Slowly, naturally, undeniably. Ethan found himself lingering in the kitchen when she cooked with Liam. She found herself smiling when she caught him watching her with quiet admiration. Conversations grew longer. Walls grew thinner. Care became connection. What began as a millionaire's unexpected kindness slowly blossomed into something neither of them had anticipated. Not revenge, not obligation, but love, gentle, fierce, healing. The kind born from seeing someone fully, painfully, beautifully. And choosing them anyway.